everybody, and welcome to Manga Pod. We are a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we've read all our parts of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. I am Aaron. So many spoilers. Wow.
Wow.
I am Aaron of Happily Aaron, your host, and with me are two of my three lovely co-hosts, as well as a very special guest. Yokorama couldn't make it tonight, and we send him our love because we miss him dearly, and are so sad that he won't be able to talk to us about shoujo shit and stuff.
Yeah.
Fluffy shoujo sweetness.
Yoku,
really
where'd you go?
Yoku.
This was your time.
Yeah. Shoujos are like Yoku's favorite. Shoujos and yaoi.
Shoujo's and yaoi.
Starting that rumor right here.
Especially yaoi.
Yep.
Everybody
Really
go
into
send.
yaoi.
Fights for it so
Everyone
hard.
go,
and every time we're like, Yoku, we can't do yaoi every week.
Y'all should go tweet at Yokorama Talks your favorite yaoi picks. Thank you. Okay, hi, I'm Happily Aaron.
Hi, I'm Dodger.
I'm Lou. How do you do?
And I'm Miss Art.
Woo!
In amazing cosplay. What?
Cosplaying as Yona.
I'll tell you in a second. Yeah, you look so cute as Yona. You're so pretty.
No.
You remember how, like, back in episode 8 or so, when I switched your Dodger and Daz's pictures?
Yeah.
I've gone almost 100 episodes without making that same mistake.
Oh my gosh, who is who today?
Lou is Miss Art, and Miss Art is Lou.
Yeah,
Yay!
I just got upgraded. I'm okay with that.
Maybe you can join GWA now. Girls Watch Anime.
Yes.
Ah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Miss Art. I'm sorry that I got your name in the wrong spot.
That's okay. I don't mind being Lou for tonight.
Yeah.
Aww. But yes, you are dressed as the adorable Yona from our wonderful manga that we read this week, Akatsuki no Yona. Chapters 1 through 23, volumes 1 through 4 is what we tackled. So, if you've never joined us for a manga pod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga, aka a summary, and that will be read by our beautiful guest, Yona. She'll be reading that for you. And then we'll give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time reading this manga or not. That way, if you don't want to be spoiled, you can take your leave after we give those, go and read it, and then come back and watch the VOD of this on my channel, youtube.com/happilyaron. Whoa. What
Setting the
happened?
mood.
Spooky!
I was trying to fix the fact that half of my face was a
Spooky
ghost.
Dodger.
And now it's spookier than it was when I was a ghost. But you know what? We'll roll with it. Actually, hold on. Go, continue.
And then if you can go watch it on my channel, youtube.com/happilyaron, if you want to watch the VOD after you have read it all. We do say that please keep all spoilers, do not say any spoilers until we get to the spoiler section. We'll do a countdown, so it'll be very clear when we get to that section. And then after that, no spoilers for anything past chapter 23 of the manga. Also, I think the anime follows pretty closely to the manga, so no spoilers for anime stuff either, guys.
I swear, if you spoil me on what happens after where we left off, I will rage. I will throw everything because I'm so invested in this manga, and I had to try so hard to stop where we were supposed to stop. I was like, no, I want to know. Anyways.
So please do not spoil. You'll make
spoil.
Dodger cry.
Yeah,
And
I'll
get
be-
angry and stuff, so don't do that. Don't be rotten bacon butt. So,
Yeah.
Now for our summary. Miss Otts, if you do not mind, or Lou, whichever.
Miss Art Lou. Miss Lou.
Miss Lou.
Lou talks art.
Lou talks hard.
I love it. So we got it figured out. All right. So, synopsis. Princess Yona lives a life of luxury and ease, completely sheltered from the problems of the seemingly peaceful kingdom of Koka. However, the sudden murder of the king and betrayal of her beloved cousin Suon places Yona's life in mortal peril. Forced to escape with only Son Haku, who is both her childhood friend and bodyguard, the naive princess soon discovers that Koka is not the idyllic place she envisioned it to be. Poverty, strife, and corruption run rampant, making reclaiming the throne nothing more than a wistful fantasy given the kingdom's current state. Akatsuki no Yona follows Princess Yona on her coming-of-age adventure as she faces the harsh realities of her kingdom. With only a mysterious legend to guide her, Yona must discover a way to restore Koka to its former glory while being pursued relentlessly by the forces of the new king of Koka.
Ooh, that is a much better summary. You're right. That is a much better summary than one we read last week, which spoiled like the entire first two volumes.
Thank God I wasn't paying attention. Because I went into it and I was like, whoa, shit's going down. No,
now I know.
I try to block it out. I try to block it out almost every time we read a summary because I find that I enjoy it a lot more if I go into it and have no idea what's going on.
Thank you, Miss Art. Now let's go ahead and do our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we believe our audience should go and read this manga or not. Does anybody want to go first? If not, I can.
Go for it.
Sure.
I really loved this manga. I wasn't, like, blown away by it at all, but I absolutely adored it in that it's a really fun historical fantasy shoujo, which I absolutely love that genre. So this just fit all of my needs, and it also has really great character development in just the 4 volumes that we read, specifically with the female protagonist who goes from being your typical, not to spoil anything, but to go from like your typical female shoujo, like whining all the time protagonist, growing into somebody much stronger and more aware of herself and just growing up, and it's really neat to see. And the art is pretty, and Hawk is bae, so.
Hawk is bae. Agree.
Husbando.
So I recommended it, particularly if you like shoujo and are looking for a shoujo that's more refreshing than you're used to.
I can go next.
Hit it.
So I haven't seen the anime. I had no idea what this was about. Let me pitch this to those of you who are like, I have no idea what this is. Any of you who have ever taken the time to watch Fushigi Yugi, imagine Fushigi Yugi, but with a female lead who is so rad you want to die. I was reading it and I was like, God, this is all of the things about Fushigi Yugi that I really loved, but with a lead character that I'm actually super invested in and I want to see succeed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was totally like blindsided me with how much I loved it, and I didn't want to stop reading it, and the characters are adorable, and I just love everybody and I want them all to be happy. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's great. And I apparently need to watch the anime.
Watch it.
D Nukem 170 in the chat said the subbed version of the first season is actually free on Funimation's YouTube channel. So.
Wow! Hey, look at that.
Oh, Lou, you're back!
Lou, yay!
You were frozen for a while.
Yeah.
You were frozen like this.
We're very stoic.
Yeah, you were like.
I'm just gonna stay like that.
Keep it.
I really enjoyed the manga. It was way better than what I was expecting, because normally, like, these types of settings, more than anything, I just am not all that interested in. But I don't know. It was just really well put together, and it did a lot of things right that I guess I wasn't really expecting it to do. So yeah, I want to watch the anime now. I want to read more.
Do it.
So yeah, go check it out. Go check it out. It's real good. It's real good.
Check it
guys.
out, fool. All right. Well, I don't know what this says, but I'm dressed up as the main character today.
So you don't really like it, right?
What you guys can interpret it however you wish, but no, I started into this storyline as an anime only watcher. And then once I caught up to the anime, once it stopped, I was like, I need more, exactly what you guys are feeling. I need more of the story. And so I picked up from the manga from the beginning and have been keeping up with it. And yeah, if you love a good historical fantasy with a reverse harem shoujo kind of feel to it, that's one thing I really appreciate is the reverse harem and how it's treated in here, because it doesn't sound like, or it doesn't feel really cliche, I suppose. It feels fresh. I think because of the quality of the characterizations of everybody that keeps entering the story. And along, of course, with the main character, I think she's been treated really well so far in the story, and definitely one of my favorite female protagonists of the manga world. So yeah, if you're just into that, then you'll be into this manga. Go read the manga and go watch the anime because the soundtrack is
Oh,
amazing.
it's so good.
It's gorgeous. And yeah, Haku is bae. Haku is bae.
Super Bay.
Damn right he's Bay.
Hell yeah, Bay.
Heck yeah! Awesome. So we all highly recommend that you go and check out this manga. So if you do not want to be spoiled on the chapters that we read, which once again is chapters 1 through 23, then now is the time for you to take your leave, and you can go, like I said, go read it, then come back and watch the VOD of this on youtube.com/happilyerin. So let's jump into the spoiler section.
5, 4,
Four,
3, 2,
1.
1.
Haku's Bay.
Haku's butt is
And
great.
God.
That's all. Like, who cares about God?
Who cares about God?
Who cares about God? Hawk's Bay.
There are lots of gods in this. Who
Yeah,
cares? Yeah.
nothing special.
It's
There's only
Hawk.
one Bay. There are many
Hawk
gods,
is
but there's
special.
only one Bay.
There are many gods, but there's only one Bay. Manga pod. All right, perfect.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and start with the question that we usually begin with. And the question is, what were your expectations before reading this manga? Miss Art, this will be a little bit harder for you to answer since you've already reread the manga 3 times. But if you wanted to give your feelings about when you were going into it for the first time and what it's like rereading it, if it has high reread value as well. So yeah, if anybody wants to go first,
I want to go first.
Go for it.
hit it, Liz.
Okay. My experience with reverse harems is not been a good one. Excluding Oran, I have seen. I've started watching Diabolic Lovers.
Yeah,
I have
go
seen
You're welcome.
Amnesia
on.
and a bunch of other crappy ones. This was handled really, really well because while there are obvious like romantic ties to the male characters for Yona, it doesn't seem like she's focusing on that. She's just more focused on her mission, which I guess makes, I don't know, it just feels more interesting for me that way. Like as from the male perspective, like I feel like, okay, she's not letting whatever romantic interest distract her. Like she's so driven to achieve her goal. And it's just something about that really made her character really interesting for me. Now, my expectations were, I didn't expect much, even though like everybody that has seen this has talked this show up to me. And like the show, the manga, it's all been talked up to me as being amazing. And for whatever reason, I guess preconceived notions because of the genre tags, I didn't expect much, and I was really blown away. And I made that known early on. Like we have a chat going on between the host and like I think it was like 9 chapters in. I was like, this is so good,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
it was just a constant
that.
thing going from there. It's just like it is so good. It was quite the experience, and I want to read more.
Yes.
Very much.
I can go.
Okay.
So the very first time, aside from seeing Miss Art and her cosplay and being like, "What is this from?" and her being like, "It's from Akatsuki no Yona," and I was like, "I don't know what that is." You look beautiful, but I don't know what that is. And then later that same day, Aaron and I can't remember if we were walking by the Funimation booth or the Crunchyroll booth, but they were showing a trailer
Funimation.
for Yona. And you were like, "Oh, have you seen that show? It's so good." And I was like, "No." And in the trailer, it showed like this beautiful princess, and then they like immediately juxtapose it with this like badass girl with like short hair, like rowing a bow, and I was like, "Oh, damn." And so I knew that element of it was probably going to be very intriguing for me. And there have been other like historical fantasy style shows and manga that I've gotten super, super into in the past. So I was like, this could be something that I'd like. And apparently the anime is good. So hopefully, I kind of had the same worries that Lou did. I was like, hopefully this isn't going to be Fushigi Yugi, right? Where it's like a girl who has really important shit to do, but is just constantly like, but all these boys,
Yeah.
And yeah, I was really, really pleasantly surprised to see that Yona is like, she's very focused on what she needs to do and like growing as a person. And rather than it feeling like a reverse harem, it just feels like that determination and that quality in her that's constantly trying to be stronger and better and like a good person makes everybody else like really drawn to her, and really respect her, find her interesting. And that's more how it's felt so far, rather than it being like everybody wants to bang her, but who will she choose? Oh, by the way, also like her dad died. I don't know. Like it doesn't feel like at this point right now, the pacing has been so good. The way that characters have been introduced has been so good. And all of the characters, I'm like, I love all of you. I barely know you, and I love all of you, and I want you all to be happy. So, yeah, I was very, very, very pleased with it, and I can't wait to read more. And I'm glad that we decided to do a manga pod on it, so that I had a reason to read it.
Yeah. Zara, would you like to go, or I can go?
I'll go.
Do it.
All right. So yeah, like you mentioned, Happily Aaron. I got into the series with the anime first, and so I approached the manga being up to date with the story as far as the anime went. But in terms of sharing my experience with the anime as being my first experience with the story, I knew it was going to be shoujo, and the main character looked like she was strong because I've seen the promos. It's a girl with a bow and arrow, and that it's usually a recipe for something I'll love. Like, this has my attention. But in general, I try to go on the series with little or no expectation. I just knew it was going to be historical. I knew she was going to get badass at some point, and that was it. And then I walked in, and I was like, oh, this is so good. I was like, oh, especially the anime. It's not only like really good art, it's also that bomb music, and it's wonderful. Go watch the anime.
Okay. Well.
Who produced the anime?
I don't remember.
Here, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
But yeah, and then when I got into the manga, I knew what storyline was going to be. But I appreciate how, now that I've watched the anime and I've read the manga, how the storylines, they don't alter very much. So and I love how well they translate, because sometimes a story in a manga doesn't translate as successfully in an anime, vice versa. And here with this storyline, I think it speaks to the quality of the characterizations and the story that it works very well in both formats. So, yeah, I love it in both formats. Go read and watch, read and watch, read and watch.
Did we get close to where the anime, because I hear there's gonna probably be a second season of the anime.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched all of the anime. Did we get close-ish to, are we like halfway through the anime?
We're like halfway.
Halfway?
It's about halfway.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Before I give mine, I was looking up who did the production on the anime, and it's Studio Pierrot, who mostly does like Naruto stuff. Does Naruto, did Tokyo Ghoul, and like, so I'm looking at their their like upcoming works, and there's apparently a Tokyo Ghoul, and then in parentheses it says Jack in all caps. And then right under that it's Tokyo Ghoul Pinto in all caps, and I'm like, what?
Pinto beans.
What's happening to Tokyo Ghoul since I like watched it? But as for my expectations, I have watched the first, I think, 4 or 5 episodes of the anime, so I haven't gotten too far into it, but I watched enough to be like, I really like where this is going. I don't know why. I think I just forgot to continue it, and so I didn't keep up with it. Reading the manga makes me want to just go back and watch all of it and finish it. And so, I was expecting to enjoy the manga, but just seeing where the story goes as we read more of it, I was just getting more excited about how well written it was and how well paced it was and everything. And so and like the characters, more characters getting introduced. I didn't realize how quick, like how the characters would be introduced or who they were, because I had seen them briefly, but I didn't know anything about them. So it was really exciting to get to experience the characters coming in, and I was like, and I loved all of you so much. So it was really fun. I loved it about as much as I expected to love it, considering what it is. So I wasn't disappointed at all, like anywhere. So let's go ahead. What should we talk about first? What do you guys want to talk about? Story or characters first?
Characters.
Characters? All right.
Hawk.
Let's talk about Hawk.
Wait, can I just say first off, I didn't see the betrayal coming at all.
Aw.
Yes. Okay. No. Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about that
I
because
didn't
yes.
know. I didn't see it coming.
Yes.
And like it happened. I mean, it happens within like 2 chapters. But then I was texting with Aaron and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because he murders the king, right? And then we have like 3 chapters of flashbacks of them being the most adorable OT3 in the world. And I was like, "Why are you doing this to me?" And, like, when he gets coronated, he's like, "I pushed away the only 2 people who ever mattered to me, but it's fine." And I'm
so
like,
sad. It's like, it's not fine.
It's not fine. Yeah. I just wanted to establish that because
Yeah, what was everybody else's? Did everybody else like when you saw that for the first time? What were you guys' thoughts?
I wasn't expecting it either. That's kind of like what makes that first chapter, or at least the beginning of the story, it gives it that shock value. It's just like, oh, everything's nice, then it's like, innocence lost.
See,
Oh!
the summary spoiled it for me. So
yeah.
that was the thing that happened, and it bothered me. Like I kind of wish I would have like read it 100% blind. Like, I feel like it would have really caught me off guard, and I would have gotten more out of it. But how things developed afterwards definitely was a little bit more surprising for me. Like how I forget the other guy's name. Not Hawk.
Hawk?
Soon?
No, not Hawk.
Soon?
Yeah, Soon.
Soon?
Yeah, how he wasn't just random evil guy. Like he had his agenda, he had his reasons,
Oh.
and what seemed like really sound reasoning for doing what he did.
Yeah.
That's true. That's what I appreciate too about a lot of the characters is they're very dimensional. Even they have, even if they do something, they commit some heinous act like Suwon, stabs and kills the king, we still get all aspects of his character. The same with all the other characters, even though they come up to all the horrible pressures that the world can put on people, they still have happiness, or they still have determination, or they still have a goal that you can sympathize with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you gotta in a story like this, right? That's so political at its core. Like the characters have to have reasons. Like the motivations have to be really well thought out, and you can tell that there's a lot more going on than we've even like delved into yet. So yeah, I appreciate that as well.
Except for like the Fire Tribe, they're all dicks.
That fucking Fire Tribe prince who's just like, I just want to touch your butt so bad, and she's like, no, that's okay.
And he's like, just let me touch
He's
your
like,
hair.
The entire
Such a
time,
doofus.
as the Fire Tribe were just progressively being more dickish. Like it just kept on. The opening sequence of Avatar: The Last Airbender
Right?
just kept on popping in. Like then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Yeah, I just keep thinking, I'm like, man, Fire gets screwed. They get villainized every time. Like, it's always Fire, man.
Not in Fushigi Yugi. Way better lead female in this though. Just to establish.
This is established. I don't know. Just to go back to the whole betrayal thing, I hadn't heard when I went into watching the anime, I hadn't heard anything about it other than it had a kick-ass lead and it was historical fantasy shoujo. But for some reason, I wasn't, like, shocked by that twist. I didn't catch me off guard. I was just like, oh, okay.
This is happening.
And so I don't know what threw me off. I was just like, for some reason I saw it coming, and then it happened. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I saw this coming. But I still loved it in that Soon isn't painted as just being a villain. like you guys were saying, like it's all gray. Like every single character is gray in terms of their motivations, really. Specifically with Suin, who's got like obviously all of his father issues. He has some daddy issues stuff happen, but he also obviously does care about Yona and Hawk. And so getting those flashbacks afterwards, it just reestablished how much he cares about them and made you be like, I felt more about that scene after I saw those flashbacks than I did when I scene happened.
Same
because
here.
I was just like, oh, he did that, but he did really care about those people. Because when the scene happened, you're like, oh, he didn't give two rats booties about them.
Rats booties.
But
yes.
then you see those flashbacks and you're like, oh, wow, they actually had a really deep friendship and like lots of love between them. And so then that just makes what happened before that much more traumatic, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just real funny to me that you said everyone is gray in the manga, which is funny because it's a manga and everyone's drawn in black and white.
Uh-huh.
Listen, nothing's black and white in manga, okay?
You know what?
There's varying shades of gray.
You know what?
50 shades that you could even say.
50 Shades of
Yes, Dodger?
You know what part I thought was so funny? I love it when manga like sort of makes fun of itself or is aware of itself in a way that's really funny. I loved the moment when they needed to go into, I think it was the Seiryu village, and Yoon was like, okay guys, we need to, like lay low, like seem normal, and then it just goes through the other three and it's like, no, impossible, absolutely impossible. It's like red hair, obviously a general with a giant spear, silver hair and a reptile claw, we're screwed. Like, there's no way.
I love that. He's just like, nah, it's not gonna happen. He just completely resigns himself. That's the thing, the comedy about it was really good. It was really, like, not over the top crazy. It was just really funny, like, genuinely funny. It came from the characters and their interactions, which was really nice. Just how, like, it wasn't overly serious, and it also didn't, the comedy never interrupted the more serious scenes at all. Like, you get a lot of manga, especially with shoujo, that it'll be building up to a really serious thing, and then they'll interrupt it with a gag or do something like that. And so you feel stilted in your growth of what is happening. But with this, and they never did that. The mangaka was very careful about the use of humor and also didn't overdo the drama either. Had a very good balance with it.
Yeah.
I agree. And I like how much funnier it seems to get as more of the characters enter Yona's crew.
Yes.
Her character interaction, it gets better, but it's like, you're like, how can this get better? And it does.
Yes. Just as more, and like, it's really easy. I guess we haven't seen all of the characters yet, because I know that her crew gets bigger. Her crew gets bigger. But we haven't seen everybody yet. But the way that the character personalities so far, I love every single one of them. There's not one that I'm like, you're dumb or annoying or stale or anything like that. They all are really endearing, every single one of them.
Yeah, and I like that we see good interactions between everybody. Like, at this point, we know how everybody in that group feels about everybody else, or like how they typically interact. And it hasn't been done in a way that upsets the pacing at all or makes it feel like it's taking forever to get to the next thing. Like, it's plopped in there in the perfect ways, whether it's in the background or just like for a gag, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about characters. Let's jump into that. Which character do you want to talk about first? Hawk? You want to talk about?
You want to talk about Bay?
You want to talk about Bay?
I want to talk about Iksu.
I want to talk about what?
Iksu, the priest.
Yeah.
The priest the entire time was
him.
just such a trip.
Dude, he was awesome.
He's so cute.
Okay, you can talk about Hawk now.
No, let's talk about you too. Let's talk about your Bay. Lou, let's talk about your Bay.
Hawk is Bay.
No, Hawk is like a character we see very often, not just in shoujo manga, but in manga in general. But there's something about him that just makes him so fun, and I just adore. I can't quite place what it is. I just love his character.
I think it's that most of the time when he's going through those, like, oh, I really dig you, but I'm going to pretend that I don't dig you, it's never, well, sometimes it's in a serious, like, my feels sort of way, but very, very rarely. Most of the time it's like, they have this moment where he's obviously thinking one thing, and she's like,
Yeah.
and he just, like, can't take it. Like, it's just like, I hate
It's just
you,
like,
I hate this situation.
That's like a good point in that it's kind of obvious. A lot of times you see the characters struggling with their feelings, like every character. But with Hawk, it's very obvious that he's already accepted that he's like in love with Yona. Yeah. He hasn't said it. He hasn't specifically been like, I love you, or I love her, as he stares at her as she walks away into the horizon or something. But, like, it's very obvious that he has those feelings for her and that he is attracted to her, too. But he's never creepy about it either, really.
Every now and then he gets all up in her business.
So he does get up into her business a little bit. I take that back. There is that one. Yeah, you're right. There are those few, like, there's like 2 scenes or so where he's like, all up in there. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about those.
She's like, what's happening right now? Oh, a battle!
Hawk really reminds me of Kurogane from Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles. If any of you have seen that.
Maybe
Like, they have
that's
the
why I
exact same
love him
character.
so much.
That's true.
I love
Like, they have the exact
Kurogane.
same character type, you know, like, just kind of an ass, but really, really cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
His character kind of reminds me of that, like, Han Solo kind of esque, where he's a little bit of a scoundrel, but he's got good humor and clearly in love.
Yeah.
and
That's a
and
good comparison.
I like that even in the flashbacks, he had, like, pretty much accepted, like, I'm into her, but that's never gonna happen.
Mhm.
So, like, you're my best friend, you marry her, and then the 3 of us can just, like, chill forever. And then, like, that all falls apart, right?
Yeah.
But I loved seeing those flashbacks of him, like, no, this would be the best case scenario. If, like, I can guard you guys for the rest of my life, you 2 are together and you're happy, and, like, that would be the perfect life for me. And I thought that those moments were really sweet. And I also love that he's an asshole character who gets called out on it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, they don't just let him, like, just say shit and then be like, oh no, he hurt my feelings. It's always like, I ignore him, he's just a bitch. it's like so good. I love it. Again, that just calls back to how all of the characters interact with each other. It's like, mwah, so perfect.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah, well, what did you enjoy so much about Iksun? Miss Art?
The entire backstory that he had with his name was Yoon, right?
Mhm.
That was just
Oh
a
my
really,
god.
just a really sweet and
I
feelsy
cried.
story.
So feelsy.
I
Super
cried so
feelsy.
much.
It was just he was so fucking moe. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Like, he was the moe character of the series. He was just all clumsy and
He was.
just
Yeah, you're
amazing.
right. Yeah, usually it's the lead in a shoujo who's the moe. But nope, not here. It's the priest.
The high priest.
It's the 40-year-old priest.
Yeah, the dirty old priest.
Yeah,
like physically dirty, not like dirty. I don't know. I don't know what's up there.
He talks to God.
He does.
But no, I agree. The backstory was one of those chapters that just really stands out as hurting. It hurts you because of how, like, great it is and how sad it is, but also hopeful at the same time because they end up meeting and, like, becoming like father-son type thing, and they're just like, ah. But then it leads into him having to say goodbye. Their whole goodbye thing.
Oh my god.
Gosh.
That the good bay
The good bay.
The good bay was the saddest part for me when he's like, I'll be fine. I won't be fine. I'm gonna miss you so much. And just like sobbing. And I was like, no, stop.
I know. And then Yoon's just like, why are you crying? Somebody in chats brought up how, like, a lot of the backstories, like, are really well done. Like, the flashback with the final Seru? Is that the
Seiryu,
final Seiryu?
yes.
That's
Oh, that one gets me.
tragic stuff like that, because he never had a chance. It wasn't his fault. That just gets me. When somebody is, like, born with something, and then the entire town, like Naruto last week,
Yeah.
and the entire town or some people just hate them because of that one thing that they can't help, and then they have that one person who's there for them, and then that one person dies, and you're just like, ah!
Yeah. Oh, and when they finally got to talk to him, like, he couldn't talk very well because nobody talks to him. I was like, no!
The part during his flashback where he finds the bell, and then the guy's like, oh, good, now I can find you, because I can't see you, I'll be able to hear you, and so he just keeps shaking the bell. I couldn't do it. I cried. I couldn't do it.
Tears forever.
I loved the design of his mask. That was something I couldn't stop thinking about. How it's really neat, because a lot of times masks, it's obvious that it's a mask. With that, it's a mask, but there are times where you're like, it's his face at the same time. Just the way that it was shaped and drawn was really neat. It didn't look weird at all. It was really cool. I really liked that.
Yeah, it seemed like it was actually a part of him.
Mm-hmm.
It was. He, like I said, he was born, and instantly they put a mask on his face.
Yeah. I want to know, I mean, you guys probably know, but I really want to know how his eyes work. Because we know,
I'm
he's
really
used them
excited.
before and, like,
I don't know
killed
yet.
a ton of people, and I'm like, how do your eyes work?
Yeah, I don't know yet either. So I'm like,
I will not say anything.
Yeah.
oh,
I
they're
think
so pretty.
it's also so sad to me, this idea that once the power gets passed on, and I don't know if this is just something that they believe or if it's true, but that once the power gets passed on, then the other person's, like, life force just drains until they die.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's not fair. That's so
Yeah.
sad.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that's not fair and just makes you really upset about this world. Life's not fair. That's what Yona's teaching us. Life isn't fair.
I did like the
That's kinda
juxtaposition
dark.
between Hakuryu's village and Seiryu's village, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think it like really highlights how this myth, how it's been interpreted, and it talks about like how the world is reacting to poverty and fear, and even through all these backstories we're getting from the characters, we're seeing how their villages have responded to all the war and all the trouble that's been going on in Kolka. So where we had like Kija, his village, you know, they secluded themselves like Seiryu's village, but they just enveloped the whole myth behind the dragon's power. Whereas you go over to Seiryu's and they're completely shunning him. So I think it's a really good exploration of the, you know, good sides and dark sides of humanity in general.
And also how different their abilities are, though, too. Like, Hakuryu's ability, he can choose whether or not it hurts somebody or if he's using it. Whereas it's at least been implied that Seiryu can't entirely control it, right?
Yeah.
So I can see how, like, after so long, like, that group of people would start to see it as, like, this curse that just won't leave. You know, like this horrible thing that you don't want to be passed on to your child because it'll ruin their life. Like, so sad. Yeah.
So sad.
It's like, you don't want to ruin their life. They should show them a good example about that it's okay, that it's not a bad thing. So they should love the person who has it so that the next person who has it isn't, like, dreading it. That's all I'm saying. Listen, they're doing it wrong.
Get in there and tell them, Aaron.
Society is wrong.
I'm so curious to see what the other dragons are like, though.
Yeah.
Like, this has made me so curious about it.
I'm interested to see if, like, their village and, like, their powers and how they were raised are as... They probably won't be able to be as vastly different as, like, Seru and Hakuryu's were. But it'll be interesting to see how those societies are as well. And, like, their personalities and their past and what happened to them before this point. So, like, I'm really looking forward to all the flashbacks, I guess is what I'm saying. Because, like, you get manga that flashbacks are so heavy and long and full of exposition that's just boring. And
Naruto.
Like, what? And so it's just, like, it's dragged on and on. But with these, I feel like each flashback is concise and to the point, but without skipping on any of the emotion, without missing any of the beats that's necessary to not only invest you in the characters, but also just to feel exactly what they're feeling and what's happening to them.
Yeah. I sorry.
No, go.
I also like in the relationship between Yona and Hak, I like that we've started to see this path of like them starting off as not master and slave, but like sort of a servant mentality, and it's very slowly starting to pull toward like, no, we're peers now. And I'm really excited to see if that continues to develop in like a really believable, interesting way. Yeah. Where like she's like, no, I can protect you. Like you can protect me, but I can totally protect you too. And I want to see that so bad.
Yeah, because it's mostly like Hak. Like it's Hak's mentality on it. Like he believes he's the one who has to protect her, that it's his job and it's his duty that's been bestowed upon him. Right. And so he's the one who's having a harder time than Yona. So it's not like Yona's some spoiled brat who just feels like she can command around everybody because everybody's beneath her. But it's actually Hak who's like, I am beneath her, and so I need to sacrifice my life to protect her and do everything. Whereas she's trying to come in and say, no, that's not the case anymore. And so it's just that, it's a very different look on that mentality that we don't usually get from characters or from like historical fantasy, because that's usually, we see that and we just see that they're devoted and that the person they're devoted to accepts that and just works, but like tries not to abuse it. But with this, we're getting the whole, no, that's not what I want. That's not how I see you. So that, like, I'm really interested to see how that keeps playing out, too.
Like that one moment when she actually legitimately does save his life is going to be so impactful. And it's going to be significant.
Oh my god, I got goosebumps just thinking about it, and I don't even know what happens.
It's on Crunchyroll. Putting it in my queue.
Yeah. Let's talk about Yona. Let's talk about her.
Yona!
Yes. So we've already established she's pretty friggin' badass, but I want to hear your in-depth thoughts about her.
In-depth thoughts?
From when you first saw her up until the final chapter. How do you guys feel about her?
Well, when I recommend either the anime or the manga to someone, I feel like I have to preface it with, please get past the first chapter or first episode, because I feel like if people don't know that she grows beyond the stereotypical whiny princess, it might turn people off. That's always been like my major fear. But as you know, if they read the manga or watch the anime, they realize that she does make very important choices in her life. When I was rereading the manga for this live stream, in particular, I was making note of the specific choices she was given in her life. Such as, she didn't have much choice about escaping the castle. I think Hak kind of took care of that. But she was given the choice to stay in Hak's village, where she could live the rest of her life. She could be peaceful and just live under the radar. That was a legitimate choice she could have made. But she decided she wanted to do something more impactful with her life. And then she had the choice to, do I hide in the bushes while Hak is out there fighting? Or do I go and try to save Hak? And then she made that choice to go out and put herself in danger to make a difference. And so she keeps making these choices that I think are the main reason she keeps growing and what keeps her to being such an intriguing character, at least in my book. And I was thinking that her hair, I did an analysis of her hair, and her hair symbolizes this journey. Because at first she hates her hair, it really symbolizes her emotions. And at the time, she's like, oh, I hate this hair because it's out of control. Kind of like her emotional state. She was just kind of going with the breeze. But then when Suwon said, oh, I love your hair, suddenly she loved her long hair as well. But then after the betrayal, she makes the action to take back her identity, take back her emotions by chopping her hair off. Therein taking more control of her life. And then it's just, as you go in the series, you'll notice that her hair is compared to fire. Anytime she gets those like really intense badass moments, people start to comment that, oh, she looks like she is ablaze. And so I really appreciate now that I did the hair analysis Like how symbolic her hair is. So I thought that was a really nice touch from the mangaka, and then further suggests how much thought goes into the series from the creator.
Yeah, I think it's also true too that after she cuts it, we see her legitimately loving her hair without like beyond soon loving her hair. Like it's turned into like this is my hair, you know, and like accepting it and being proud of it in a very different way than she was before. Yeah.
That's always such a that is something that happens in anime and manga a lot where girls will cut their hair and that's like a sign of character development.
Yeah, like
Sakura.
Yeah.
But like with this, I don't know. I was thinking about it and I was like, there is a little bit of truth in that. Like, because I know for me, if I need a big change or something big happens in my life, like sometimes I do just go and chop off my hair. Like it needs to change the hair because there is something really that like there's so much control in that you get to just change your entire look just by like chopping it off or dyeing it or doing whatever.
Change your life.
Changing everything. And so it is really neat to see that with this, it was like, so it was incredibly defining, but at the same time, it was just a part of her journey. It wasn't everything. Like her character development didn't just stop because she cut off her hair. Like she cut it off as part of like exactly. Listen, I'm not saying I'm not talking about anyone specific. But yeah, so like the metaphor is just really nice to see. And it doesn't just stop after it happens. It continues to like just sets it off. It like sets her character development off even further. And I really like that. So I feel like the hair metaphor was handled really well in Akatsuki no Yona. There's other manga where it happens and it's not handled, not just Naruto, but like it's not handled well. It's used as, okay, this is the development. That's all I need to do because she cut her hair. You know what that means. With this, it's like, you know what that means, but let's talk more about it. And so that was really cool.
Oh yeah, and her choice to pick up weapons. I don't think we've talked about that as well. Her father being so anti-weapon,
I want to know more about her dad so bad.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of mystery behind them. But
I
think that took a lot of strength. Oh no, I was just saying it took a lot of strength for her to just suddenly be like, I'm gonna go against everything my father ever taught me because it'll make me stronger for my country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really loved the flashback. That's what I was looking for. I was gonna say backstory, and I was like, I mean, that kind of works, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. I really loved the story when Hawk was first like going toe to toe with that dumb fire kid, and the king came up and like stopped him. And at the end of the flashback, we realized that he literally like grabbed the blade. And I loved the moment when Hawk is like reflecting on this and says like he was no coward. Like people called him the Coward King, but he was not a coward at all. And that moment made me be like, I want to know more about the king so bad. Like I need to know. Like it was just, it made that character so interesting, and it immediately made me be like, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had something and now I can't remember what it was, but what was it? Oh, it's fine.
It's true. Well, yeah, because he's supposed to have killed his brother, Suwon's father, so that just kind of adds to the mystery of like, who's this guy, this king, who doesn't like weapons, and yet supposedly, according to Suwon, his father was murdered by him.
Yeah, so it's like...
Can I?
Yeah.
Oh, just random thing that popped into my head since we were talking about Yona's father is I want to know more about her mother because we really haven't gotten anything on her.
Yeah, we don't know anything about her mom.
Yeah, all we know is she died when Yona was really young. That's all we know. Yeah, I want to know more about her.
Just thus began her infatuation with her cousin.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh gosh.
You know what I think is so silly though? Like one thing about this story that I just can't suspend my disbelief enough about is that she's constantly going, I'm not who you think I am. I'm not like this red-haired dude, that you're supposed to be following. I'm not that guy. I'm just like a chick who's looking for some dragons to help her out. And I'm like, all of these other dudes you're finding are reincarnations of those dudes. Why is it so hard for you to like take a second and be like, what if I'm a reincarnation of that guy? Like,
See,
maybe.
Yeah.
They did rationalize it in one line of dialogue. Where
When she's talking
she
about
says,
how lots of different people have been in control of the throne.
exactly in that how her family has only been in control of the throne for 250 years.
Yeah.
That she's not a direct descendant. To her knowledge, she is not a direct
Right.
descendant,
Mhm.
which is how the other dragons are
It still feels.
going. Go for it.
Go for Dodger.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna say something, but she is Sky Tribe, right? And like that guy was the beginning of the Sky Tribe.
I think so.
Yeah. It feels.
Art, you're
It's
like,
one.
mhm.
We can move away from this. We can move. It's just like, oh gosh, my brain. I was gonna say something, but I can't remember what it is. I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, I agree that like that is something that was bugging me, where all these people, these dragons, are reacting to her, and she's still like, no, I'm not who that is. I'm like, this is flimsy. She would think. She would stop to think. Like, she doesn't feel that thick-skulled as a character in terms of other stuff, that when it comes to this one thing, she would be that hesitant to consider that she might be.
Especially after her first interaction with Hakuryu, when he's like, you're my master, like I know this, like I feel it, like I'm being called to you, like I know it. And now it's happening again with the other dude, and I'm like, if it happens, if like after both of these dudes have been like, no, yeah, I'm definitely supposed to serve you, like this is literally what I was born for, and she's like, no, you guys are mistaken. I'm gonna be like, girl, Yona,
Somebody
we need to
in
talk.
Smart Potato in chat said that she thinks that Yona might be thinking it's too arrogant of a thing to like accept
Maybe.
onto herself, and so that is a different aspect, like a different point of view that I didn't think about. Like maybe Yona is like, that would be way too arrogant of a thing for me to accept and just take control of. And maybe she would think it would be too manipulative, and like it could be something where she's been scarred by being manipulated and like being betrayed by Suin, that now she's very conscious of being very straightforward, because we've seen her become incredibly straightforward in her motives to everybody that she's asking to join her on this journey. Like, she's very straightforward in that, no, I want to use you for your power. I'm a bad person. Like, I want to use you for your power. Will you come with me? I want to be your friend, but I also want you for your power.
Yeah.
And so, like, that is something that's a shift, that she's not being coy at all. So maybe it's something that she doesn't want to go too far, because she's kind of scared about, like, what could happen if she did.
That's very true. And she doesn't have any outward show of what this power could be if she has it. Whereas the other dragons, one has a huge arm, the other one has crazy eyes. And as far as she's concerned, she's just a normal human being. Right. So, that could tie into it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We are coming up on an hour here. There's so much that I'm like, I know, there's so much that I want to talk about still. Like, we'll get to her in a second, but the one thing I remembered that I wanted to bring up was the part where she did cut her hair, and the dude from the fire village held it and went back and was like, how destroyed he was after she did that, and he thought that they had died, and reporting to Suin that they had died, and Suin just being like, what? Like, kind of like, he can't show it, but he's obviously like hurt. And so, but the fire guy looked completely broken after that. That was something that I felt was interesting. Oh no!
He's demanding to be punished.
Guys, keep reading. I just bust out and say stuff, but I can't.
Okay, now that I know that there's going to be more to that, I definitely want to keep reading too, even more than I already did. But that was just something I wanted to touch on, because I was shocked by... That was something that really shocked me, was how upset he was with that. Yeah, so let's talk about art.
I have one complaint about the art.
Yes.
It's the way the action scenes were handled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they looked pretty, but I didn't feel like they were very fluid. Like I felt like they were at one point, and then we saw the aftermath of whatever action that they did.
It would be
Like,
like one big
Swoop.
frame of Hawk like swinging a thing, and then just dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah, blood, and then dead bodies.
And
Like,
then he
Hawk, you
jumps
look
over
so-
here somewhere. And
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Lou, I agree definitely with that. There was not, the action was not the primary focus of the action scenes. Like, you understood what happened. Like, you understood what was going on, and they looked really pretty, but there was no actual fluidity in them. There was no going from point A to point B. Like, we didn't get to see the middle. It was just like, I was at point A, and now I'm at point B, and dead bodies.
And we're done.
And moving on to character development. Yeah, I agree. Like, the blood looked very pretty. I was saying.
Those one big panels of Hawk being a badass that
Looked
all of them
great.
were great.
Like,
My-
the detail and everything was awesome.
My favorite moments were definitely when Yona had her like "I'm gonna stare you down" moments. Where I was just like, "Damn!"
Dude, her eyes were so shoujo, but just so pretty and not overly over the top shoujo.
Her eyes
For me?
remind me a lot of Clamp, like Magic Knight
Yes,
Rayer style
yes.
Clamp, like
That's
just
what it reminded me of.
like lots of, I don't know, like implied glistening to everything while also being really like dark and intense. And I was just like,
Mhm.
damn, I love this. It looks
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
She could rival Griffith from Berserk in her stare downs.
Yeah, for real.
Her
I didn't really like her design until she cut her hair.
Same.
Yeah.
Like once she cut her hair, I was just like, wow, she looks real good. I like her design.
Ah.
It was so
No, like because she went from being just generic shoujo protagonist to okay, she is I guess more assertive of I don't know, it's just that change, that physical change reflected that change in her character. So that entire breakdown of the importance of Yona's hair that Miss Art gave us, like I don't know, like I felt it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agreed. And that's why I keep encouraging people who are new. I'm like, just get past the first few chapters or episodes. I swear she
And-
gets better.
It's gonna get
And
so
even
good,
then,
I
they're
promise.
still good.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
they're
still
still good
good,
chapters.
Yeah. Oh, the art is just, it's just so pretty. I
Yeah.
love it so much.
Even
Like,
the
that's
color
what I,
changes.
yeah, like, and a lot of the, like, shoujo-esque moments, I love that they weren't covered in flowers or overdone with, like, the background or anything. It was
Bubbles.
just the characters. Like, a lot of the times when Hawk and Yona were sharing a moment, or the flashback with Isu and Yoon, like that moment where they reunited and like were crying and like touching foreheads and stuff. Forehead touching gets me. I don't know why. Even if it's platonic, I don't know why. It's just like the nicest, sweetest thing in the world. And like, so all of the perspectives and stuff were drawn really well, and just those scenes were really touching and the art enhanced that a lot too, just because of how clean and detailed and pretty it was. And the same with the flashback of like Saru's character design and his whole back story, like with his eyes, just everything is so gorgeous with his backstory and how he looks. I really like his character design a lot. I like it.
Yeah. I think I like all of the character designs.
Mhm.
Me too.
There were times, I will say,
Don't sorry, can I just say the way, like, you kind of took on an accent when you said that? So you're like, there were times, and you sounded very
they
old
were the
English.
best of times.
Yeah, you sounded very Tale of Two Cities.
There were times when there was like a close up on a face, and I'd be like, is that Yoon or is that Hakuryu?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell because they both, like, in the way that they're drawn in the manga, just had like blonde hair and like kind of a generic face. So I was like, which one are you? I got it.
But Yoon is the prettiest boy in the
But
land.
he's such a pretty boy genius.
such a
How
pretty
could I
boy
compare him
genius.
with Hakuryu?
Yoon was my favorite character. He's just such a little shit.
Yeah.
I love him.
He's so blunt, while at the same time having, like, genuine fears about stuff, too.
But
Yeah,
also, like, of all the designs, he had like the most bland design. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't, from the group, he didn't stand out at all because he was just that normal kid that was tagging along with the group.
yeah.
And I love that he knew he wasn't a warrior. Like, he had no desire to fight with swords or anything. He's like, if I get captured, I know I have to use my brain. Like, this is how I will fight. And so I really liked that about him, that he didn't have that insecurity over that either.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, man. We needed to do another monk pod on Akatsuki.
Yeah,
because
Yes, let's do another one.
yes,
Yes,
can we,
please.
All right, we have come up on an hour. So does anybody have anything else they would like to touch on? If not, we'll wrap up and give our final thoughts and ratings.
Haku is bae. One thing to take away.
10 hawks out of 10 hawks.
Yep.
That's my rating. Awesome. Okay, so final thoughts and ratings. Anybody want to go first? I'm trying to think if I want to rate
Rating.
it.
Yeah. Man, I enjoyed it a lot. I'd probably give it an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it definitely has the potential to get even better. It's really, really good. Yeah, the characters are great. The story's fantastic. I'm like really excited to read more. It surprised me by how much I loved the main character, because normally in a reverse harem, except in Oran, normally in a reverse harem, I'm like, this girl is gonna be the death of me. Like she's gonna be the reason I stop watching it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And in this, I'm like, no, Yona is like probably my favorite character at this point.
Yeah.
Like her growth has been the most interesting. She's just really great in the situation, in the world that's been developed, and I'm interested in the story that we've been presented with, of like, I'm gonna find the dragons, I'm gonna do my thing, and you know, protect the people that I care about. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you do it. You know, I'm invested, and I think that counts for a lot. So yeah, I would give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an just because I have to stick with my trend. I'm gonna give it an 8.12345. Is what I'm going to give it. No, that's boring. 8.15672. There we go.
Cool.
Because I agree with everything Dodger said. I'm invested in this. I think the character development has been great, and we've only read 4 volumes. And it's a lot of fun when it needs to be, and it's also hits all of those dramatic notes really well, and is written to be the story and not written to like force you to feel something. It's not overly dramatic or anything like that, which I love about it, because a lot of times shoujo can get real heavy with the forced drama, and there's none of that in here. It's just a really great, interesting story, and it has a lot of elements that I love in just fiction in general, and so getting to see them here in a shoujo is really neat to see. And I love the development of the characters and their relationships. I think the art is absolutely gorgeous. I do wish that the action scenes were a little bit more fluid, but for the most part, I'm just heavily invested in the characters and want to see where the story goes. And so I think it's a really good shoujo. I think it's a really good manga in general too. So yeah.
I am also going to give it an 8. It was an interesting read. It far exceeded my expectations. The strong female protagonist definitely, I don't know, it definitely is extra points in my book, because unfortunately we don't get enough of them. Yeah, there are the classic examples that everybody can think of, but if you look on a spectrum, the vast majority of female characters in anime and manga aren't just created to be as powerful as Yona is. Mm-hmm. The entire cast all contribute a lot to the progression of the story, and everyone feels important, which for me counts a lot, because it tells me that the mangaka took the time to craft everything in the story and piece everything together really well. So yeah, I give it an 8. I expect it to only go up from there.
Yay!
Awesome.
I'll do my rating for the chapters that we covered
Mhm.
in this. So I would give it an 8.5 because these type of stories just hit me right in the heart. They're my favorite type of story. I was immediately sold on it once I knew it was going to be a strong female character with a bow and arrow. Like, if that's in a book, if it's in a movie, if it's in a manga, I'm on board. And yeah, I've been really impressed with Yona of the Dawn. If anyone picks up the anime eventually, and Akatsuki no Yona, I think it's just a solid story that most people will enjoy. I think it crosses that perceived gender barrier. I know some people are put off when it's like, oh, it's shoujo, and then they might hear the term thrown around, reverse harem. And as we discussed, there isn't exactly the best examples out there. And I just feel like this manga, puts a new spin on it, and it was just really enjoyable. I come away just like from watching Shida Yukihime. I come away from each chapter feeling happy, and I want more. So if you want that in your experience, then jump into this manga or watch the anime. You will not be disappointed. And I hope it gets licensed soon, because I would really love to own this manga. I really like to focus on collecting series that I super enjoy, and this is one of them. So I'm just crossing my fingers that one day it'll get licensed in America, North America, so we can own it.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree. I feel that way about many series. That way about a lot of stuff. Awesome. So there you go. That wraps up our discussion on Akatsuki no Onna chapters 1 through 23, volumes 1 through 4. I'm going to go ahead and read you guys the description for the manga that we are reading next week, and you guys in chat get to guess. Hope you're excited.
Yay!
On the outskirts of Tokyo stands Hachimutsu Private Academy, a storied all-girls boarding school for elite young women full of potential and good breeding. But as the new school year rolls around, one tradition is going out the window. For the first time in the school's long history, boys are being allowed to enroll. But on the first day of school, only 5 boys make the cut. Kiyoshi Fujino, one of the lucky few, is thrilled by this discovery, his heart leaping with joy at the thought of being surrounded by all of those girls day in and day out. But little does he know of the shocking fate that awaits him. I feel like people in chat had to have gotten it. Prison School! Yep.
Tiny
Yep.
face.
Yep, we are reading Prison School next week.
Tiny face.
Tiny fish. Tiny fish.
Oh my god. Oh
We
my
are
god.
reading chapters.
This is gonna be so good.
I'm so curious to know what the manga is like after
I
watching the
know.
anime. Oh my god.
It's gonna be good. We're reading chapters 1 through 30 with special guest Alex the Kami. So that'll be cool. I'm excited to have Alex on as well. So there you go. That will be next week. Let's go ahead and shout out our stuff super duper fast. I am Erin of Happily Erin. I have a YouTube channel where I'm just all my stuff is anime related. I do anime vlogs, anime reviews, first impressions. I recently posted my summer response video where I talked about 7 anime that I've watched this season and how I feels about them. I also do mental health awareness videos, and all of the previous manga pods are hosted on my channel, so if you're interested in any of that, come check me out. And then as for other social media, I'm Happily Erin all across the everything. And I today just opened up my first P.O. box, so
Aww.
I'm excited about that. So if you need the address, it's on Twitter or on my YouTube profile page. So I'm excited. I'm going to start doing mail time videos, so I'm really stoked about that.
I need to start doing
Really
those again
fun.
too. Hi. I'm Dodger.
Hi!
Hi. Dodger. You can find me on youtube.com/presshearttocontinue. I do dating sims and visual novels and a weekly show about the games industry. And actually, the most recent news show was done by Miss Happily Erin, and she did an anime news show, and it was awesome. So you should totally go watch that and tell her how pretty she is.
Aww.
And you can also find me on twitch.tv/dexteritybonus, which might be where you're watching this right now. I stream a few times a week, and on all the social medias, I'm at dexbonus, DEXBONUS. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Woo!
My name is Lou, and I'm from Lou Talks Anime. You can find me at youtube.com/Lou Talks Anime now, where I just do a bunch of weeb trash. I recently was trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before my 2-year anniversary, which was yesterday. We got really, really close. We got to like 1,830
Aw, man.
Consider-
So close.
So close.
Which, considering that I started a few weeks ago at 1,500, is mind blowing. Like my channel's never grown that fast, but that's
Aw.
beside the point. I promised that I would review Diabolic Lovers if we got to 2,000, and I'm gonna deliver on that anyways, because I'm
Luke.
just real appreciative for everything that.
Aw.
No, I'm not gonna do episode reviews of season 2 because y'all did. No, I love you guys.
Nah.
I don't know, maybe. We'll
I
see.
can't wait to see your review of Diabolic Lovers.
I'm
That's
so
gonna be the
excited.
highlight of my day whenever that comes out.
This is gonna be a wonderful experience. And yeah, so Twitter, AskFM. I'm really active on those things, and Instagram, Lou Talks Anime, across all that. So yeah, that's my stuff.
Ooh.
Miss Lou.
That's me for tonight. Hi again, I'm Miss Art. If you Google Miss Art, I'm usually going to be the first things that pop up. But I have a YouTube channel as well where I do weekly Naruto anime reviews. And I also do book reviews. I've been keeping up with that lately. And I just started a new segment called Miss Art Mondays, which is a weekly live stream where I'll just give a brief update about how my day went in terms of anime, books, and life. And then I just take a general Q&A. So anyone can feel free to come join me on Monday evenings. And I also host a live stream called Girls Watch Anime, GWA.
Wah!
Wow.
Tend to come and join me. So expect a new episode of that once the summer anime season wraps up. We'll all get together and we'll all just share our feels.
Yeah.
Yay! So yeah, I'm everywhere, or at least most places that I'm active. I'm at Artsy Alley. But again, if you Google Miss Art, that'll all come up. So yay, thank you again, guys, for having me here on Manga Pod. It was so fun.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so
It
much
was-
for coming on.
You're always an awesome
It was fantastic.
guest host.
Aw,
Mhm.
thanks,
Wonderful.
guys.
And that cosplay though.
You're
That
awesome.
cosplay.
That cosplay 10 out of 10. Real good. Wow.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for watching us. We'll be here same time, same place next week, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/dexteritybonus as well as youtube.com/happilyerin. We'll be discussing Prison School chapters 1 through 30 with special guest Alex the Kami. So make sure you check it out because you want to see us talk about that Prison School. It's going to be real good. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.